Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to Chris's Inked Pens for March 2023. I'm really excited today because there's a couple of new things going on with me being able to make this video. First is the better camera so that I can do face-to-face and then we can flip the screen and move over to the desk. But the other thing that I'm even more excited about actually is that I got these slotted flexible display trays from Penn State Industries in California. So I've got, it's gray, and even though I love the red one that I had, it's much better. It's bigger, it gives me more flexibility, and I think the neutral color is going to be a little better with lighting, camera, and how each pen looks, because that's a really good background color. So I'm excited, and I'm thinking I'm not going to look back, you know, from that. I couldn't replace the red one anyway, and it got torn, so really excited about such a small thing. But they were, I think they were 4 for $16, and then of course shipping. But I will link you to where I got them, and thank you to pen friend Sharon for telling me about hers. And then the other really big excitement this month is that I bought my first Benu pen. I've wanted one for a long time, and I did decide on the Talisman model in Mandrake. And I'm super happy with it. I got a broad nib on it, and it's got the colors that I want to pull from. Like it kind of looks magenta or pink in there. You got a lot of purple sparkly going on, and teal. So that's my 3 favorite colorways. It's hard for me to choose between magenta and purple, and then teal is like my secondary or my third major color group that I really, really like. So I think it's going to go a long ways for me. I don't know if I'll, have very many Benu pens because the price point is high for me. But so I'm super excited anyway to have one. And, I know that the nib experience is going to be familiar because, it's a broad steel nib that I'm quite used to, that kind of a nib, but yet a finish like that would be such a joy for journaling is a real excitement for me. I wasn't sure whether to get a medium nib because I often journal with medium, but my paper is pretty good right now, so I went with the broad nib. And just an overall overview real quick, and then we'll head to my pen desk. I'm inked up with one magenta ink. Spoiler alert, that's in this pen, in the Benu. And then I've got a turquoise, I've got a beautiful, like a deep orange, and a bright green, which is my favorite green. I'm surprised I didn't go for more greens for March, but we kind of get our spring in February, so I'm sorry, guys, that are still in winter. And so I've been kind of going around in the spring colors already. And then I've got a traditional purple, and then we go right into a bronze color in a stub nib, and then a blue-black, and finally a pink. So this is just where I'm starting. These are the 8 that I'm really going to focus on for March, and I'll do the progress report on these. Included in there are 3 student classification pens, and I still have the other student pens inked up, and I'm exactly where I want to be with that, because to me the heart of evaluating a pen is comparing it with other similar pens. And so now that I've got a couple Pelikan student related pens inked up, and I've got still the Schneider and the online now, it's really starting to heat up. Like the project really had a slow start because I was just beginning with one, and so now I can really say, oh yeah, okay, this is smoother than this one, this is a wider nib. It's starting to really make sense. So I have those all over on my pen desk in a little pen pot, and a canvas one with a cat on it. And if we can, I'll show you when we get there. Yes, I will. I'll remember, I promise. Oh gosh, I gotta be careful with that because my brain, the way it catalogs things, I may forget. But let's go over to the pen desk now, and we'll look at each pen. Then we'll look at the ink tile, and I'll write with each one. And then, in a couple weeks, I'll come back with the progress report and let you know, was it all it was cracked up to be? How did it go? So I'll see you over there at the pen desk. Okay, so here we are at the pen desk. I did promise to show you the little canvas pen pot that was gifted to me by my pen friend Sharon, and it pulls up and it zips. Let's see, this isn't a very good way to show it, but I'm in love with it. And it's got all of it. Then you just kind of pull down so that you can use it on your desk. And so I've got my student pens in there that I'm comparing with, that I'm continuing the project. Anyway, I promised to show you that, so there it is. Now, am I wrong? But this is better, isn't it? I like this background better. I like the fact that I can spread the pens out and maybe even get some and compare them when I'm doing reviews. So, first up, of course, is the pen I already showed you, which is the Benu Talisman Mandrake, and I did get a broad nib on it. Super excited about this pen. It's beautiful and I'm happy with it. Then next up is a pen that was gifted to me. I think it was very early on, and it was pen friend Bryan, who was writing to me during NaNoWriMo back in 2017, I think, a long time ago. It's got a medium nib on it. Coco's trying to get up on the desk. No, Coco, be good. And it reminded me a lot of the online, the nib on the Tombow Object. That's this one. Reminds me of the student pen, the online Airsoft. He may get up here and then we'll have a catastrophe. We don't want that. Anyway, this is a medium nib, and I wanted to kind of compare the two, because that review is coming up, so there we are. And then this is a Jinhao 159 in orange with silver. I do have one little glitch with it. The nib I wanted has gold, but I'm not going to let that bother me. It's the writing experience that I want the most, and I know that that nib is it. I just couldn't find my completely silver nib. Oops. Okay, Coco made his race across the desk, and Manuel's gonna kind of babysit him, I think, for a minute or two. So this, if I can find the other nib that is almost exactly the same quality broad nib, then I'll put it on there, because maybe it does bother me a little that it's a gold tone nib on with a silver trim pen, but it shouldn't. Okay, next up is one of my old favorites, the Opus 88 Omar in yellow. And of course, it's got that green translucent body, so that's where I put my green ink this month. And then I already talked about this a little, but I want to write with it all month. This is the Jinhao 82, the black one, with the Goulet number 5 broad nib on it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but you know, our first impressions can change, so let's use it for a whole month and see if we still feel the same way. Now, the next one is, well, the next three are in the student category, so we're going to be comparing for the project, and I keep having to look at the name of this one. This is a Schneider Callissima. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. It is a 1.1, whoops, can you even see that? Anyway, it's a 1.1 stub, and it's got a really comfy grip and a kind of a short nib, and I'm real excited to try this. This was pen friend Donna recommended it, mentioned it, and so I got one with channel funds that came through as a gift. So the next pen is a Pelikan Pelikano Junior in blue, and it's a right-handed, and it's got the nice squishy grip and everything, and things don't seem to be lined up. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if I did that. I didn't even notice it before. If you notice what I mean, when I grip like this, the nib just seems, oh well, that's something that I'll need to check into. That's why we do this. And then next is another online pen that I ordered with channel, with a gift certificate that came to the channel, if I'm not mistaken. It was either that or ad money. I don't know why I'm so hung up about what came from where, but I am. This is an online, I'm thinking it's a college model, but I may have to correct that in the description, because I just went, you can see why I bought this. It's got cats on it. It doesn't feel like a super strong made pen, so I'm a little worried about the cats knocking this down, but it does have a really nice seal inside for it to stay And if it's as nice a nib as is on the online Airsoft, then I'm going to be super thrilled with this. But I'll take care of it because it feels a little bit, it feels a lot on this, like the old gel pens I used to use as far as the body. But it does have a clip, a really interesting clip. Anyway, it's not a review, so. Oh, and I added another pen because this is the Jinhao 80 with a Lamy broad nib and my favorite gray ink, which is Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. So I guess I decided to include it and evaluate it. It's up against how I feel about TWSBI medium nib or broad nib, but you know, I'm just going to try it out and see. Is it going to bleed through some of the papers that I use, or is it going to be okay with that Lamy broad nib? Because I don't like a Lamy medium nib that much. Anyway, it's an experiment. So let's write with each one of these. I don't know whether I got the tile out for that one. Yeah, I did. Okay, so that's stone gray. Okay, I'll be right back with you. Okay, so for the Benu pen, the Talisman Mandrake, I decided on the Rohrer and Klingner Solferino. It's a favorite color of mine and a favorite ink, and I thought it would be a good one to try for the first, first ink up of this pen. So I'm feeling a little awkward here, but hopefully we can make this work. I got to remember this is a screw to cap. Oh, we're not grading. Oh my goodness. Okay, we are not yet grading. This is the beginning of the month. Here we go. Ooh, that's a nice flowy broad nib. So this is Benu. Talisman, I think is how you spell it. Mandrake with a broad nib. And Rohrer and Klingner Solferino. And sometimes I wonder, is this purple or is it magenta? I'm kind of thinking that it's magenta, but sometimes when I look at it, I see purple. They're just gorgeous, and I think this is going to be really enjoyable. I can see myself sitting down and really journaling and enjoying the look of the pen between when I'm thinking, And that's not me usually. I'm usually in such a hurry. So if that pen is going to slow me down, oh, blessed be, that'll be wonderful. So next up, I put Pilot Kon-Peki in the little Tombow Object. And it was quite a surprise to me when I started writing, with it at first, just to test to make sure it was writing. The last ink I used in this was Kaweco Ruby Red, but this Pilot ink, back then in those days, I hadn't started using Pilot inks. It's just super flowy. It turns that medium nib into even more of a gusher. So this is Tombow. Oops, can't remember how to spell Tombow. What is so hard about that? Tombow Object, medium nib. I'm not sure the colorway. It's obviously turquoise or blue, but I guess I need to look it up. It's not something I see very often anymore, so I don't know if they've stopped making them. With Pilot Kon-Peki. And it is super flowy. Look at that. Wow. Okay. I was going to say it seems to have surpassed the flowiness of the broad nib up above, but I don't know. It could be the ink nib combination, I'm sure. So next, I put KWZ Standard Monarch into my Jinhao 159. I'm forever now wanting to say X159, even though it isn't. It's my preferred of the 159 with a broad Jowo nib. It came from Australia from Pensive Pens on one of my serendipities. So this is Jinhao 159 in orange. And we'll put this silver just so I know that it was, I have one in gold too. But I didn't, because it's spring, I wanted to see silver, but I probably would have been better with the gold. KWZ Standard Monarch. This is an ink, probably it's the only ink I can remember ordering from overseas, from Fonto Plumo. When they got a bottle of it in, I ordered it because even though it costs something to get the shipping from there, from the Netherlands, I wanted a bottle of that ink so bad, and I have not been sorry. So next up is my Opus 88 Omar, one of my favorite pen models, with Colerverse Supernatural, my favorite green. When I first saw this pen, I thought, well, I don't write with yellow. But then I realized the translucent body on it that's green, that would give me at least one nice pen for my green inks. So when I was able to, I got it, and I'm really pleased. Okay, so this is another one I know is very nice and flowy combination. Whoops. Opus 88 Omar. Yellow with a broad nib. And Colerverse Supernatural. Again, very flowy. I'm not sure if I have a finger that's not already inked. I've seemed to be very inky today. So, there's that. I know I'm going to enjoy these. They're so far so good. Wow. Okay, then another very favorite ink. Rohrer and Klingner, yeah, we already did that one. Monteverde Purple Rain is the one that I put into the little Jinhao 82. Let's see. Compare this with an average size pen. See, it's a lot shorter even than the little Jinhao 80. So it's almost a pocket pen size. I really like it. Make sure you can at least see. Okay, here we go. Poor man. No, I think he had to take Coco to another room because Coco was just determined to get up into the pens. Jinhao 82 in black with a broad Goulet nib. Oops. I need to close the window. I apologize if you were hearing the barking dog. I suddenly realized I had quite a bit of sound coming in through the window, darn it. But it is spring here, and we, unlike you in the north, if you're in the north, our problem is we have so little of this really mild weather before we get into the intense extreme heat where we can't open our windows. So we're pretty happy this time of year where it's warm, but it's not killer heat. So Monteverde, this is my favorite, one of my favorite purples. It's definitely my favorite shader in purple. And I had to replace it. Notice how I said I had to. I replaced it because my big bottle was gone. So now I have a 30 ml bottle. I'm trying, whenever there's an option, I definitely would get a smaller bottle of things, even if I really like them, because then I have a better chance of, you know, evenly using my inks rather than sort of overusing one color because I have a big bottle. Okay, next up is the Schneider Callissima. So it's a calligraphy pen. I did end up putting, let's see, that is a push to cap. One of those Pelikan converters in there. And I was pleased that I could do that because I don't want to always be stuck with cartridges. I don't mind refilling cartridges, but I don't really enjoy it that much. So this is a nice nib, and it gives you a lot of variation. I'm glad I got this pen. Schneider Schneider, I think that's right. Callissima 1. I want to say 1.5, but it's a 1.1. Oh, and the color on this pen, it's called Apricot. Apricot? One or the other. With Robert Oster Bronze. Not exactly a color match, but for some reason that was the ink I wanted to see in this one. It's got kind of a greenish looking At first I wanted to categorize it as gold, but it's definitely bronze. It's a unique ink. It's excellent for ink art. If any of you are ink artists, you want that ink. And next up, I decided to go with one of the first bottles of ink I ever bought was Diamine Oxford Blue. And I decided to put it in this Pelikano Junior because I figured I'd have good readability with it. And just, you know, a more fun blue, I guess. So, and I was not disappointed. Look at that. It has excellent flow. So this is Pelikan. See if I can spell right. Pelikano Junior. The difference being with the Pelikan Pelikano, it's got all the little wings, and this is much simpler of a pen, more streamlined somehow. They're both, you know, young pens for student pens or children pens, which I think is great because I'm just a big kid. And I did say I thought that was you know, I thought the nib was turned a little, so I'll figure that out, but it's not stopping me from writing. Diamine. Could be something I did when I put that converter in. I may have jammed it in and turned it or something. You never know. Oxford Blue. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did use I used one of their proprietary converters. So I shouldn't be doing any harm to the pen, I don't think. Let's see if we can get a little squiggle. So it's wet, but not too wet. It has an A stamped on the nib. So this is my first student pen, child pen with an A on the nib. I'm really excited to do some study and figure out what that's supposed to mean and everything. I actually have a memory that I'm supposed to know already. Someone did tell me something. I need to go back to my notes. So for the little online, I think it's a college, but it may be a different model. I'm going to correct myself in the description. I'll go back to the Amazon listing when I do that, and I'll make sure that I get it right, because I don't want to... I'll even leave a blank here in the journal. I'm just going to put... Oh, that's so nice. The nib is fantastic. And this wasn't an expensive pen either. It was... Gosh, I think I got it for $11 or $12. So this is online. A German-made pen. I'm going to leave a blank because I think it's a college, but then something's telling me that's not right. I've gotten a bunch of ink on the section, and it has a bunch of sheen. Okay, with a medium nib, and it's Pilot Roshizuku Sitsu G. Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. That's nothing new for me. Oh, we're not having much of a... Okay, it is definitely wet enough. It's a medium, and I just love the little cats on it. Let's see if I can get it up there closer for you. It's gorgeous. It makes me think of all the cats that come into my yard and into my home. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then we've got 9 this month because I wanted to go ahead and track this one fully. This is the Jinhao 80 with a broad lamy nib, a black broad lamy nib. And I think it's going to be great for my gray ink. Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray, which I need to replace because my bottle's almost gone. Oh my goodness. Ink is another subject. It's coming up shortly. I have another video for you that I'm working on. Jinhao 80 with a broad nib. This is the gray pen with Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. My favorite gray of all time. I also love Diamine Earl Grey. I do. It's got the juice inside. It's got the complexity for art and everything. But this one, just for writing, it falls exactly where I want for a medium dark gray. Leaning more toward dark than light, but still kind of medium. So I really love this, and I'm excited. We are going to have quite a month with these 9. And then here in a minute, let's see, did I? Oh, okay. I must have done that at some point. I don't remember doing it. Focused, you know, so close. So when we get into it, we've now then going to have quite a few more student pens because we're bringing in the 3 new ones. These 3 here. We've got one that's geared toward really young children. And then this one, being a calligraphy pen more for art and students that are a little older. And then this one, I would have to say just right off the bat that I wouldn't want to go younger than 8 with this one because I think you have to be pretty careful with it.
11 a.m.
But I'm not sure. 11 a.m. Okay, so let's see if I can get these back in the right order. I don't want to... Okay, before I go, I just wanted to kind of experiment with that tray a minute with you just to show you what I'm so excited about. Okay, so this is what I'm so excited about, is the fact that I can kind of use these trays when I'm talking to you. And like right now, I'm thinking in my mind that these are the 2 Pelikan pens that I'll be comparing. I've already reviewed this one, and then a review will be in the future of the Junior. So it's nice to have this little kind of platform to do this with. And then this online that we're doing for March is probably going to compare really well to the online Airsoft. The bodies are different, and there's quite a bit to say in terms of difference. In fact, I think this has a fine nib, the Airsoft, and then the this one, whatever it turns out to be for model, it has a medium nib, so that's an excitement too, the difference. Okay, what are we doing here? Got to make sure I'm closing it without hurting anything. And then at the same time, we also can compare this Schneider Callissima with the Rohrer art pen, and it's so nice to have a long enough tray to be able to show you, push them up, you know, the actual size side by side without having them roll all over. I know it doesn't take much to make me happy, believe me. And the same thing over here, the Tombow Object came out of retirement practically so that I could compare it with this pen, and it just made me realize what a pen this is. I already knew. I knew how much I loved it with Kaweco Ruby Red, and initially had trouble finding an ink for it, but this was long before you guys set me straight on Pilot inks and how I should definitely try Pilot inks because they flow so well. Well, it definitely turned out to be true here. Yeah, so this tray business is just really exciting to me. I have also multiple cigar boxes that I'd like to turn into pen, little pen cases. So I can, pen cases, you know, pen boxes, and I can just trim this up really nicely and fit it into there. But I'll be really careful because it came with 4, so I should have probably ordered 8, I guess. But I'm excited about it, and it'll help me to, well, do what I like to do. So I think that's enough of talking. I'm almost at 30 minutes already. But I will be back because I'm excited to come on and do a separate... Oh my gosh, all the neighborhood dogs are howling like wolves. There must be an ambulance. Hopefully you can't hear that. I'm going to do a separate video on my ink library book, and I told myself I had to get this core video out first. So it may not be the first one to air, but it had to be done and ready to schedule because the super fun play stuff needs to come second to what I've already promised to do on this channel, which is to bring you my Chris's Ink pens, and I love doing that, and then the progress report, and continue studying the children's pens. So now we have a really good thing going. We've got all these pens, you know, that can become compared with each other. And, you know, we've got like these 3 in the Pelikan brand. We've got the Schneider, the German pens. Well, they're all German pens so far. And then we've got 2 online pens. And we've got more coming. And now, of course, this one, which is a great comparison to the... Rohrer art pen, and perhaps a little more available right now than the Rohrer art pen, although I've seen some out there. So I'll see you on the next video, and this will be the next pen that I'll be reviewing, the online Airsoft reporting on, pen reporting. See you next time. I may be just slightly over-caffeinated. Bye for now.